Now the next topic is IC regulator. Before this lecture we have seen a transistor regulator in which the series transistor it is used as a main amplifier and a error amplifier using a common emitter transistor. It was connected in the feedback part. Then that transistor will identify the errors and that will be minimized using the common emitter action, that is the output and input has a inverse proportion with the common emitter, and that will reduces the voltage fluctuation through the main amplifier. The same circuit using the transistor, it is fabricated on the semiconductor chip, and those semiconductor chips are called as ICs. And using this IC, if regulation is achieved, those ICs are called as regulator ICs. In these ICs, the transistor used, they are comes in the category of power amplifier, power transistors. This is a typical circuit of IC regulator. It is explained here in the form of block diagram. The output is sampled here. It is given to the error amplifier. This error amplifier is constructed using the operational amplifier, in which the inverting amplifier terminal, it is connected in between the voltage divider. So the sample is given to the inverting terminal, and the non-inverting terminal has a fixed reference volt. It is inbuilt in the inside the IC. The output of this error amplifier, it is given to the series pass element so that these errors are detected and that will be minimized through the series pass transistor. And this series pass transistor, it is connected with the load in series connection. That is why it is called a series pass element. Now in the same IC, it has current limiting. Just before this we have explained how current limiting and short circuit protections are provided using a transistorized circuit. The same type of transistor it is connected here to achieve the current limiting. Then this IC has a this regulator has one more circuit which is called as thermal shutdown. The transistor used in IC regulator are the power transistor. They has to handle more power, more current. So that is why they will dissipate some power. And when power is dissipated in any transistor or any element, it will generate some heat. So this heat should not damage the transistors. For that, we have to use a thermal shutdown. In this transistor IC regulator, if the temperature reaches up to 175 degrees Celsius, this IC will work properly. If the temperature reaches beyond 175 degrees Celsius, then this transistor IC regulator will automatically shut down using the thermal shutdown. So that is why this thermal shutdown circuit is used in IC regulator. Besides this, this IC comes in the form of 3 terminals IC regulator, in which pin number 1, pin number 2 and pin number 3. This pin is to connect the input voltage, pin number 3 is to connect the output voltage, and pin number 2 is the ground terminal. So in this power transistor IC regulator, we need only 3 terminals to connect input and output, and 1 terminal it is common for input and output. That is why it is more convenient to use the IC regulator beside using any other type of regulators. Now we can see that we have considered that the temperature or thermal shutdown is there, but this IC also has a heat sink. Why heat sinks are used here? Because whenever this series pass transistor generates the heat, at that time the collector is the terminal where the temperature is very high. This collector, it is connected to a heat sink. Heat sink is nothing but a aluminum skid. It is connected physically with the collector of this transistor. So the heat dissipated in the collector, it will be getting transferred to the heat sink, that means to aluminum skid, and it has a hole to connect it to the body where the power supply is connected. So the heat from the collector, it will be transferred to the heat sink, and heat sink is connected to the body of the cabinet where the power supply is fixed, and that heatsink, it is physically connected with nut bolt to the cabinet. So heat from the collector will transfer to the heatsink, and then after heatsink it will transfer to the cabinet. So in this way the cabinet has more physical area, so that is why heat evaporation will be more, so that will keep this collector as cool as possible. So heat sinks are actually sinking the heat from the transistor. So in this way we can limit the damaging of this transistor using heat sinks. So heat sinks are necessary in any type of IC regulator. So this was all about the block diagram of IC regulator. This IC regulators have two types. One is called as fixed and another is called as variable. Fixed IC regulators, the examples are LM340X. This is one of the kind of IC, and another is 78XX or 79XX. These are the IC which provides fixed value voltage. Suppose LM340 and X is denoted here. So if X is a digit or variable which can have the value from 1 to 9. That means suppose we have used the LM3408, this kind of IC. So it means that it is providing a 8 volt of constant voltage at the output. So pin number 1 here for input, pin number 2 ground, and 3 will be the output. And at 3 pin we will get a fixed voltage of 8 volt. In the same way, these are the another IC which can have voltage in 2-digit form. That means suppose we have IC 7802. That means it will provide a 2 volt constant at the output of regulator. And suppose 7832. This is the maximum voltage that can be available in the 7-8 series. So it can provide from 2 volt to 30 volt maximum. So this is the 2-digit number. So this variable can be replaced by 32. That means it is providing a voltage of 32 constant at the output. Second IC is the 79XX series. It is also generating the voltage from 2 volt to 32 volt. But the IC 78 series will generate the positive voltage and IC 79XX series will generate the negative voltage. So these are some examples of fixed IC regulators. Now second kind of IC regulator is the variable IC regulator, in which 3 pins are there. Pin number 1 for input, pin number 3 for output, and another the second pin, it is adjust terminal. That means if some voltage is applied to adjust pin, the voltage at the output can be changed. So this voltage can be adjusted using the pin number 2. So this voltage is variable. So we can have the potentiometer and we can change or vary the potentiometer, and we can generate the voltage from 1.2 volt to 37 volt maximum. So this regulator will generate the variable voltage. So we can have decimal point voltage also. This was impossible using the fixed IC regulator because the decimal point voltage are not available in the fixed IC regulator. So second type is the variable IC regulator. The example of variable IC regulator is LM317. This is the block diagram of IC regulator using LM317. This is actually connected for high voltage application. So when high voltage are used at that time, we have to use a bridge rectifier because it provides high voltage. So bridge wave rectifier is used to connect LM317 regulator, in which pin number 1 it is connected to the input of the bridge rectifier. Pin number 2 is connected to the output, and pin number 3 is the adjustment pin. Now in LM317, the output voltage can be varied using some external components. This is the voltage divider provided by constructing using resistor R1 and R2, in which resistor R2 is the variable resistor. The output of this can be calculated using this formula. It is simply nothing but output voltage. It is given to the voltage divider, and say simple voltage divider is used here. So minimum voltage available at the output is 1.25 volt. multiplied by R2 upon R1 plus R2. That means the voltage divider formula is given here. The ripple rejection in LM31C1 is about 80 dB. So that means the ripple, that means the fluctuations are reduced by 80 dB. That means 1000 times the ripple rejections are there. If the fluctuations at the outputs are present, they will be reduced 1000 times at the output. This is the meaning of 80 dB ripple rejection. The minimum voltage present at the output is 1.25 and the maximum voltage this IC can provide up to 37 volt. So by using a potentiometer instead of resistor R2, we can vary this voltage. If this resistor is at its minimum value, then it will provide the voltage of 1.25 volt, and if resistor is at its maximum value, then it will provide a voltage of 37 volts. So 317 will provide this type of variable voltage. The advantages of this IC regulators are that it reduces the cost of power supply, and the IC regulators do not require much place in the power supply. So the size of power supply will reduce if IC regulators are used. Then they are comparatively very stable with respect to temperature. So this IC regulator can handle voltage, a temperature up to 175 degrees Celsius. After that, they have a thermal shutdown, so they will be off when the temperature increases beyond this limit. Then the current capability of this IC regulators is 30 amperes. So forward, that means they can capable of handling 30 amperes of current. This is very high current. Then the output of this IC regulator is much stable than other regulators. So mostly this type of IC regulators are used. The last kind of regulator is the switching mode power supply. This switching mode power supply, it may be called as SMPS. You might have heard this SMPS word mostly in the computers. In the CPU, this type of power supply is used, but it has more outputs, more type of output, more various types of output from 0 volt plus 2 volt, 1 volt, 5 volt, 12 volt, and so on. So the principle of working is same. In this SMPS, this is one of the transistor, and this transistor is used as a switch here. That is why this is called as switching mode power supply. In switching mode power supply, input is connected between the collector and base, and output is taken between emitter and the base. The base is driven by the pulse generator, and these pulse generators are having a frequency of 50 kilohertz. This much high frequency is pulses are used to drive this transistor. So whenever there are pulses like this at the output of pulse generator, and they are connected to the base of this transistor, so whenever the pulse on time is there, the transistor will be turned on, and when off time is there, the transistor will be off. So in this way, these pulses are actually switching this transistor continuously on and off. The output of this transistor, it is connected to a diode, and the inductor is connected as for filtering action, and another, that is capacitor, is connected here for another filtering action. When this type of pulses are given to the transistor, transistor will also turn on and off. So in this way, when the transistor is on, this input will pass through the transistor and appear at the output, and when the pulses has low value, this transistor will be off, and the input cannot pass through the transistor. So this type of pulses, they are also again generating here. So here ripples are generated. This ripple should be removed. So for this, a LC filter is used. When inductor is used, it will have a self-inductance, due to which it will generate the electromotive force, and this electromotive force generated in the inductor has the reverse polarity of that of input current. So that is why this EMF generated has a direction from right to left, and that can damage the transistor. So for this back EMF, it should be removed. To remove it, a diode in reverse bias mode is used. So whenever the negative current is there, it will be seen towards the ground through the diode. So that is the basic idea behind using a diode here. Now the output of this SMPS, it is connected back to pulse generator. So there is a feedback circuit used here, and the feedback here used is a negative feedback. Now duty cycle can be given by bits upon time, and the output of this circuit is given by duty cycle multiplied by input voltage. So whenever there is a increase in the output voltage because of input voltage increases, the duty cycle decreases. So when duty cycle decreases, the width of the output of pulse generator will decreases. Now what is meant by width? Width means, suppose we have a pulse like this, and this is your on period and this is your off period. This will be the width and this will be the total time. So whenever the input voltage increases, output voltage increases, and this equation should be satisfied. So for that, the duty cycle, this term will decrease, and when this decrease, the width of the pulse will decrease, and when width of the pulse decreases, that means the on time for the width is decreasing. So when on time is decreasing, the transistor will remain on for less time. So this will create the output voltage to remain for high voltage for less time. So in this way, the manipulation is done within the equation. That means output increases. That means whenever there is a increase in the output voltage, the same amount of decrease will be achieved using this circuit at the output. So in this way, it will regularize the output voltage. So this was about the switching mode power supply. This is the basic principle, but it has some more external circuits connected in the switching mode power supply. This power supply are mostly used in digital circuit like computers also, because the size of this circuit is very less. Beside this transistor used is the main element here, and this transistor is used as a switching transistor. And ideally, any transistor, if it is used as a switch, it will not dissipate any power, because any switch connected, it will not. It is the switching device, or it will either on or off. So it will not dissipate any power. So power dissipation in switching mode power supply is very less as compared to other regulators. If you compare the transistor regulator, there are the power transistor which we are used, another transistor which is used as a error amplifier. So both the transistors are dissipating more power, but here only single transistor is used, and it is used as a switch, and it will not dissipate any power. Then its output is more accurate and more constant than other transistor regulator. So that is why SMPS is mostly used in digital circuits. This was all about regulators. Thank you.